I just want glasses so I can see the framing, so I can do the
Welcome. I just did that.
Welcome to the co-author Q&A. This is episode dos. Today we thought we'd talk to you about what inspired us to get into writing. I think I talked to a lot of people, creatives, writers, who they have all these ideas, but they don't do anything with it. And whenever I talk to them, or most times when I talk to them, I hear the want, the desire in their voices, or they want to do something, but they don't allow themselves to pursue it, to try things. And so we just thought we'd talk a little bit about that idea, but also just what inspired us to actually start working together. And really, so what inspired us to get into writing? You want to start?
So I wasn't the outdoor kind of kid. I loved doing sports, but when I was at home, I spent a lot of time watching movies, Disney, Star Wars, which are now related, Dark Crystal, a lot of those kind of flicks. And I just really enjoyed the escape from the real world, the uniqueness of lands and people and culture that was created. It just really built a lot of creativity in my eyes. So I remember doing a lot of trying painting. I tried doing a lot of writing and storytelling with my 8-year-old skills. And then it kind of floundered for a while until I got into college and I wanted to learn more about it. It was really intimidating because I didn't go to school for writing, but I studied on my own, learned the best I could, tried it out, made a lot of mistakes. And then by the time, 2014, went to a filmmaker group, and that, just being in that community really inspired me to push the envelope, learn more, get support and knowledge from other people. It actually really helped. So the fact that I met Will, who was also a big geek, Star Wars fan, Lord of the Rings fan, his inspiration and dream and passion to start creating one of those worlds that we fell in love with, and me having the opportunity to do it with him, we were able to connect both of our stories together. And I think it's the community aspect. Like, we've been really encouraging these last 2 blogs. Mm-hmm. What about you?
Yeah, so growing up for me, I was always into stories and movies and stuff like that. Much to my family's chagrin, I was not an athlete, but I found my passions in anything creative, be it usually musical or theater when I was in school, but I was also always drawing and doing kind of artsy things as well. But fast forward to college, I actually started teaching myself as much as I could about filmmaking, because I remember sitting in a theater once at the end of a movie and thinking to myself, that I think I could make something like that. And I was really drawn to the aspect of, bringing people together to create something bigger than everyone there. And so that's still a passion of mine, filmmaking. But what something that I really was drawn to is this idea of collaborating to tell stories. As Jordan said, we met at a filmmaker meetup.
I was writing scripts at the time.
Yeah, and so I had the story I was trying to develop, and basically I just felt compelled to ask Jordan if he wanted to hear this idea for a story and possibly work together. And so we met for coffee. I basically pitched him my story idea, and I think it was just that perfect timing of 2 people who were already dabbling in storytelling themselves, that wanted more of that. And
they're 2 stories, just fit like puzzle pieces too.
Right, yeah, that's the other thing that was really weird and cool, is that I had this idea for a story, and so did Jordan, and they complemented each other in a way that made them both better when they came together. And we just basically took a chance on each other, really, because we weren't friends.
We didn't have any experience in this either.
Yeah, I had done some independent stuff and just out of pure tenacity, tried to make films with friends and stuff like that, but I had no real experience. But yeah, and we weren't friends prior to that meetup. Like,
No.
we didn't. The funny thing is, looking back, like, we had similar friends in the same circles, but we had never met each other.
Yeah, we met on a Saturday and we re-met on a Wednesday where he pitched me his story, which fit with an inspiring dream that I had. And so that's, that was the depth of our relationship before we said yes to each other.
One of the biggest things that I found is, like, the biggest learning point for me in this, now it's 3 years later, we're still at it, we're still writing in the Destined universe. 3 years from when we started, like, from that.
Almost 3.5.
Yeah, from when we first met. It's been 3.5 years. And
well, in that 3.5 years, we have one novel done of a series of 3, maybe 4. Our first comic book is done. Our prequel novella is in the works.
Yep.
And draft 2 of book 2 is also in the works.
Yeah. So I often tell people that we chose to play the long game, as I say it. And
it takes time.
It takes time. We're not pumping out books and stories like crazy. We could if we wanted to, but then we would be putting out a product that isn't up to the quality that we want to put out.
Especially by 2 people who don't have the length of experience that a lot of people do who can pump them out that fast.
And that obviously slows us down a lot.
Correct.
Because it's a learning experience for us too. And that's the biggest thing I wish, I talk to people all the time and hear all these ideas and, and there are various reasons that they can't pursue them and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, not everyone has, the luxury of certain things that, I have or Jordan has or whatever. Like, for example, like, I don't have a wife and kid. Jordan actually happens to have a wife and kid. But he, you carve out time to write because it's passion. It's a passion. It's a priority. Like, you make it that. And
I also have 2 part-time jobs and a full-time job. So it's not like it's just family, writing, and a part-time job. It's every hour scheduled.
There's 2 elements that I see here. One is giving yourself permission to try and permission to just dabble and experiment.
Like, be comfortable with failing and screwing up.
Yes. Like, I used to be a perfectionist, and to a certain extent I still am, but the reality is you will never become the person that you're meant to become if you aren't willing to try stuff. So anyway, the biggest thing we hope that anyone watching this would get out of it is just simply, know that if there's something that you want to try, go ahead and try it. Our inspiration for writing, in the universe of Destined now, was simply wanting to try something that we hadn't before, and give ourselves permission to do that.
Don't be like those red guys on the Enterprise. Stop setting your phasers to stun.
Wow.
Welcome.
That's terrible.